Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of the many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, February 10th, 2023. And we start out with the big event happening in Neepawa, Manitoba's curling supremacy up for grabs. The Viterra Provincial Men's Curling Championship is underway in Neepawa. And you can see some pictures here. The first draw of the Viterra Provincial Men's Curling Championship began in Neepawa early on Wednesday, February 8th at the Yellowhead Centre. There are 32 teams from across the province competing at the event. The championship game will take place on Sunday, February 12th at 2:30 p.m. New provincial funding benefits Beautiful Plains. School division will be getting $1.8 million increase to allocation by Owen Devereaux. The Beautiful Plains School Division, BPSD, is pleased with the announcement of additional funding being distributed by the province. Late last week, the Manitoba government promised to increase educational funding by $100 million for the next school year. The government says this amounts to about a 6% increase compared to the previous school year. The money will be divided up among all school divisions. For Beautiful Plains, the amount of new support comes out to about $1.8 million. Total budget expenditures for the 2022-23 were listed by the division at a little over $24.8 million. If the next budget were to remain at around that number, the extra funding would equate to 7.25% increase in support. Beautiful Plains Secretary-Treasurer Shannon Bays said considering above-average increases in students in the division over the last 2 years, as well as the impact of inflation, this additional support is positive news. We're thankful for this announcement. This will assist with offsetting inflationary cost increases. As well, our division has had notable growth in our enrollment over the last 2 years, so this funding will have an effect. Bays added that even with these growth and inflation pressures in place, these additional funds will find its way in front of students. And there's another article, province increases funding to all school divisions. $100 million in new funding announced for the 2023-24 school year. Owen Devereaux. It's an announcement that school divisions across the province have been hoping to hear for quite some time. On Thursday, February 2nd, the Manitoba government announced an increase in funding for kindergarten to grade 12 students by $100 million starting in the 23-24 school year. In a press release confirming the increase, Education and Early Childhood Learning Minister Wayne Owasco said, "Our government believes that all students must succeed regardless of where they live, their background or circumstances. And this year's investment will provide an operating funding increase to each and every school division across the province." The money makes up a 6.1% increase in funding and will be spread out to school divisions across the province, stated Owasco. Every division will see an increase in funding next year, which will help them engage students, invest in the programs and services that will best meet the needs of local communities. This year's increased funding includes $62.9 million in operating support, including an additional $20 million to address cost pressures, $5 million for special needs along with increases in other existing grants, $8 million increase in capital support payments, $24 million increase to the property tax offset grant, and additional $5 million increase for independent schools. The province is also investing another $106 million to make the one-time funding given to divisions last year permanent. And here's a picture from Austin Fire Department, well pleased with the new fire hall. the new fire department building for the community of Austin in Arm of North Norfolk. The photo was submitted by Robert Smith. The article by Ken Waddell. Austin Fire Department Chief James Zacharias describes the new fire hall as awesome. The new hall was formerly a construction shop, but was renovated to accommodate the fire trucks and equipment and the needs of the 27 volunteer firefighters. Zacharias became the chief in October 2022. More information about the department and the fire hall can be seen on the RM of North Norfolk website or on the Austin Fire Department Facebook page. And now we have Looking Back in Time by Casper Warren. And the picture shows the winners of the 65 and over Pioneer Bonspiel that was held in Neepawa on February 3rd, 1973. Picture from left to right are George Lang, who presented the team with the Charlie Pedler Trophy, and the Cliff Buchanan Rink of Gladstone, which is comprised of Milt Younger, the skip, Stuart Broadford, third, Cliff Buchanan, second, and John Sly, lead. Jim Ferguson, MLA at the time, is seen standing behind them. So, 110 years ago, 1913, a post office was opened at Hallborough on February 1st, and 20 press subscribers can now get the paper on Thursday and Friday afternoons at the residence of F.L. Pescott. Andrew Guest has disposed of his farm near Glenella to W.J. Cook of the Gladstone district, who takes possession next month, when Mr. Guest moves to a farm near McCreary, which he has recently purchased. 100 years ago, 1923, Franklin, fire of unknown origin destroyed the barn on the farm of William Brody Wednesday morning. Barn and feed contents are a total loss. Engine men and brakesmen of the CNR engaged in a hockey game Wednesday evening, putting up a strenuous as well as scientific exhibition. Score 10-8 in favor of the brakemen. 90 years ago, 1933, Mentmore. The ladies in this corner have the rug bug and have spent 2 very enjoyable afternoons with the result that a new rug has been made at each home. Brookdale. Mr. John Tile has returned home from Estevan, where he has been working in the coal mines for the last 2 months. 80 years ago, 1943, Mentmore. Ordinary seaman F. Bremner returned to his duties at Esquimalt, BC after visiting with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. J. Bremner. Spring Hill. Close to 100 people of the Spring Hill and Clarksville districts gathered in the hall on Monday evening, February 1st, to welcome home Harvey Colasar and his English bride, who had recently arrived from England. 70 years ago, 1953, the 36th annual show of the Neepawa Poultry Association last week was again an outstanding success. Held in the arcade on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the show attracted a banner entry of 500 quality birds, and a large number of town and district residents were well repaid for a visit to the show. Funeral service for Alan Alexander Ramsey, well-known and respected resident of Neepawa for many years, who died in Winnipeg Tuesday, February 6, with Reverend Douglas Anderson officiating. Mr. Ramsey was born at Pembroke, Ontario, and attended high school at Dundas, Ontario. He later moved to St. Mary's, Ontario, before becoming to the Eden District in 1899. He was a representative of the Daily Tea Company for Central Manitoba for several years, and later engaged in farming in the Eden District. He married Agnes Janet Riley of Eden in 1899, and they came to Neepawa to make their home in 1912. 60 years ago, 1963, Air Force Headquarters recently announced the promotion of Flying Officer John Edward, Jack, Blowers to the rank of Flight Lieutenant. Flight Lieutenant Blowers, son of Mr. and Mrs. R.J. Blowers, Riding Mountain, Neepawa, has been a member of the RCAF since 1941, being commissioned from the ranks in April 1957. At present, Flight Lieutenant Blowers is on the staff of Air Material Command Headquarters, Ottawa. Married to the former Doreen Hurd of Winnipeg, the Blowers have a son and a daughter. 50 years ago, 1973, a most successful bonspiel of pioneer curlers was held on Friday and Saturday, February 2nd and 3rd, when 84 lively old curlers, 65 years of age and older, took to the ice to demonstrate their curling prowess. Rinks came from 6 neighboring towns and were put through their paces by drawmaster Bill Adams. 40 years ago, 1983, The next time the provincial judge's court issues a fine, the offender could be given the option to work his or her debt off in the community. Council agreed at its last regular meeting to sign a contract with Provincial Department of Community Services and Corrections to institute a fine option program in the town of Neepawa. 30 years ago, 1993, a move by the provincial government to centralize health services may mean Neepawa will not get the equipment required to do laparoscopic surgery, even though the $70,000 needed to purchase the equipment has been raised. Neepawa Hospital Administrator Eric Gustafson said the hospital has received word from the Manitoba Health that Minnedosa may be chosen to receive the equipment rather than Neepawa. The reasoning is that because the two towns are only 20 minutes apart, patients and even surgeons could easily travel to Minnedosa for operations. 20 years ago, 2003, the Prairie Women on Snowmobiles raised over $133,000 for breast cancer research during an 8-day, 1,600-kilometer journey through the province. The snowmobiles started their ride in Winnipeg January 24th and passed through Neepawa a week ago Friday. When we were on the road, the support became overwhelming, said Gail Major of Winnipeg, one of the organizers of the event. It was really emotional. The 2003 ride marks the third annual ride for Prairie Women. There are several interpretations as to the origins of Valentine's Day. The full article is too long to include. However, it makes mention of the following. It was originally the pagan holiday known as the Feast of Lupercus, which originates from the 3rd century Rome. The full holiday was called Lupercalia. In the Christianization of the Feast of Lupercus, the church officials renamed the holiday to St. Valentine's Day. From there it gets muddy, with a few different stories being provided for the Christian version of this holiday. And there's a picture here of advertisement for Nielsen chocolates appeared in the February 11th, 1943 edition of the Neepawa Press. Nielsen's Jersey Milk Chocolate. Whoop. Getting fumble-fingered. Home Buddies by Reed Friesen. Living Life Fully. A few weeks ago, one of the channels featuring the Sports Person of the Week highlighted Marilyn Redekop, my first cousin on my father's side. The recognition was for her still playing volleyball at the age of 80. Well, the clip was of her playing volleyball, but she excels at tennis, skiing, golf, and almost any other sport one could mention. That is the athletic side of her. My memories flitted to scenes of our childhood, playing in the loft of our grandfather's workshop, family bonfires in August, celebrating our grandmother's birthday, the year the headless chicken raced around us. Marilyn is musically gifted. Her husband, Ted, took a position as a family doctor in Thompson, and Marilyn embraced life there. She started the Aurora Singers, a women's a cappella choir that won awards and earned them a tour of Wales. Back in Winnipeg, after almost 18 years up north, she became a music teacher and again started singing groups. Lots of jazz. 8 to the Bar, 5 of a Kind, Those Guys are just some of the groups. She served as rehearsal pianist with the Winnipeg Singers for many years and still sits on a committee that visits and evaluates high school productions, competing for a Rainbow Stage scholarship. Marilyn has directed the Westman Youth Choir. She has been a mentor to many. Here again, memories of our shared childhood. Family meals always included the singing of the doxology. Our family was so musically gifted. The one missed me, sadly. The hymn of praise was sung in a 4-part harmony with sincerity and depth. Marilyn is family-oriented, close friends with her younger sister, first to embrace a family gathering of any generation, relishing and reveling in the family ski trip to the mountains. The death from cancer of one of their young family was more than difficult, and even years later there is a beach volleyball tournament to celebrate Nikki's legacy. Back in the day when we were kids, her parents became teachers before my father returned to teaching. So she was the city mouse and I was the country mouse, and I got her hand-me-downs. We were both slender, tall for our age group, and I loved wearing the clothes she had outgrown, long before they were worn out. Marilyn, little Marilyn as she was known for most of her childhood and youth, for she is named after our Aunt Marilyn, shared many of the same attributes. Aunt Marilyn loved music, became a teacher while her children were young, and also loves and serves her family and community. Aunt Marilyn, when almost 90, still served as a substitute teacher and didn't care what class she needed to fill, as comfortable in gym class and in music class. and the just over 90, Aunt Marilyn still took her keyboard to senior complexes to play for the elderly. There is so much for me to still learn from the Marilyns. Keep loving, keep active, keep having a purpose for getting up every day. Accept the highs and lows of life, for there will be both. Breathe deeply, look for beauty and serve. Live life fully. And here's a picture of a beautiful museum history, Bank of Montreal. This photo of the Neepawa branch of the Bank of Montreal is quite timely, as it celebrates its 125th birthday of being within this community recently. This particular photo of the building that was located at 436 Mountain, it had originally been built by the Merchants Bank in 1903-04, but became known as the Bank of Montreal in 1922. The bank occupies the same spot today, though the building has completely changed in both appearance and size. However, instead of being completely demolished, the pillars had been taken down and modified to be used as parking stops at Riverbend Park. And the photo was submitted by the museum. And we have thumbs up and thumbs down. Thumbs up to Mother Nature for bringing us a bonspiel thaw just in time for the Viterra Championship curling in Neepawa, from Robert Smith of Sydney. A thumbs down to the federal government and the tractor manufacturers. At Ag Days, myself and the rest of the Grey Hair crew shared our thoughts that tractors have become unnecessarily complicated and too reliant on computer components. Again, from Robert Smith. And then a thumbs up, many thumbs up to all the staff at Country Meadows. The care you give to the residents there is greatly appreciated by those who love them. God bless you all. From Carol Anoschuk and family from McCreary. And we continue. And out of Helen's kitchen, Helen has a couple of very sweet sounding recipes here, but she also has some information on Valentine's. Valentine's Day will soon be upon us, and reminders are in every store. Boxes of chocolates, teddy bears holding lace-trimmed hearts, cards of all sizes and sentiments and flowers. In North America, nearly 6 million couples get engaged on Valentine's Day. It is the biggest commercial holiday after Christmas. Engaging cards between lovers, family, and friends didn't become widely popular until the 18th century. In the early 1900s, improvements in printing technology made exchanging cards even easier with pre-printed cards. In Canada, 12 million dozen roses are sold for Valentine's Day, and they are the most popular flowers sold for that day. The red rose has been associated with love and passion for thousands of years. According to Statistics Canada, Canadians spend an average of $100 on Valentine's Day in 2017. Albertans and Quebecers spend most of their Valentine's gift budget on flowers, Ontarians on jewelry, British Columbians on candy, and Manitobas love to have a romantic dinner out. The Valentine's Day tradition of giving heart-shaped box of chocolates started in 1861 when Richard Cadbury of the Cadbury chocolate family came up with the idea to sell those fancy boxes of chocolate as part of the Valentine's Day tradition. Today, more than 36 million heart-shaped boxes of chocolates are sold each year. That's 58 million pounds of chocolate. In 1847, Boston pharmacist Oliver Chase invented a machine to make cutting out his throat lozenges more easily. He soon switched to making candy, and his machine was referred to as America's first candy-making machine. Chase's brother came up with the idea to print messages on the candy in 1866, and the candies got their heart shape in 1901. The heart-shaped printed message candies are the second best candy seller for Valentine's Day. In North America, these sweetheart candies are popular as more than 8 billion, some 13 million pounds, of the little hearts are sold in the 6 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day. That's a lot of I love you and be mine. If you're planning a dinner with your sweetie or all the family, these easy-to-make desserts will give your meal a delightful ending. Show them you love show your love, since that's what Valentine's Day is all about. As I said, she's got some couple of really sweet recipes that you can probably look up yourself if you get a chance. Gentle Parenting, Your Listening Ear by Delcy Martin. As a therapist, I can't count the number of times I've heard parents say, "My parents were tough on me and I turned out fine, so I can be tough on my kids." Or, "I'm just preparing them for the real world and the real world sucks." Children don't need hardship to grow. They need peace. Science has shown us that brain development comes from laughter, not from tears, that children who are raised to fear their caregivers are at greatest risk of mental illness, attachment disorder, and a host of other relationship and mood management issues both in childhood and adulthood. Children who are provided emotional validation and support fare better in their childhood and adult relationships. I think that a lot of people get confused because they think that emotionally validating their children is permissive parenting. Kids absolutely need boundaries, structure, tasks, and goals. They need to be taught the value of education and hard work, but these things can all still be delivered under an umbrella of unconditional love, positive regard, emotional validation, and of course, kindness. Nobody is perfect. No parent is perfect. Gosh, I'm the furthest thing from perfect. But what is perfect, at least to me, are those two tiny smiling faces that look into my eyes and call me Mama. Here are some things that we can be aware of to help us and our littlies along the way. Greet your child with the enthusiasm that your dog greets you at the door. No, seriously, try it. It helps them feel special and important. Counter to popular intuition, this does not lead to your child developing a feeling of entitlement. In their growing brains, that is exactly the confidence boost that they need to keep developing. Our brains will tend to use the route most often used. So, if your child is met with positivity more often than negativity, their brain learns that positivity is the route most traveled. When your little one has a meltdown, because they will, try not to get sucked into their chaos. They are melting down not to manipulate you, not to torture you, though it feels like this, but because they have a need that's not being met. And their brains are literally on fire trying to figure out what these big and scary emotions are and how to get their needs met. This is the case for every little one and older kids. It just looks different. I encourage you to name the emotion. I see you are feeling angry right now. Set the boundary. But you can't scream and hit when you're angry. Then the comfort. I love you and I'm here to help you. Then hold on tight for the wave of absolute insanity that comes as their brains regulate and they calm down. I once thought that correcting the behavior by yelling and scaring them into listening was the correct approach because the behavior stopped. But the underlying wave of anger, emotion, and unmet needs are still there. And now, by teaching my child to fear me, I've added anxiety and obscurity into the mix. Everyone, of course, has the right to parent how they choose. My perspective is only one, but for now, this is the one that makes the most sense to me, and I wanted to share it with you. Now we have some news from Minnedosa. The Rural Outlook. Answers aplenty at Minnedosa Town Hall meeting. Town and Chamber of Commerce reveal strategic plan, community updates by Owen Devereaux. And the pictured is the town of Minnedosa Mayor Ken Cameron. Minnedosa has unveiled its future plans of property for within the community. On February 1st, about 75 citizens gathered for a town hall meeting at the Community Conference Center. The purpose for the get-together was to hear an update on the strategic plan that's been in the works since September of last year. As well, part of the evening was set aside for sharing information on proposed assisted living facility, the proposed 9th Avenue Southwest subdivision, and an update from Synovus Energy, formerly Husky Energy. All of this is part of a renewed effort by town officials and representatives with the Chamber of Commerce to keep citizens in the loop on the local matters of significance. Strategic plan. The final report on the strategic plan was presented to Council in mid-January. Mayor Ken Cameron said it had to be pared down somewhat to manageable and attainable list over the next 5 years. He noted that it is a living document, so it could change and evolve as time goes on. The priorities listed are focused upon improved municipal governance and communication with ratepayers, market the community to generate economic impact, implement asset management and program, build the financial plan and identify both short and long-term capital requirements, address the need to preserve land and river while minimizing impact of flooding, expand hosting opportunities, and bring together community groups to collaborate on key initiatives. News on MREC. Mayor Cameron then shared details related to the Minnedosa Regional Events Center, the new arena entertainment complex being built on the town's northwest side. Cameron said construction is moving along well and that they are currently awaiting a revised schedule to get a better idea on the completion date. As it currently stands, it appears as though the major construction could be finished by late May to early June. An official grand opening gala will likely be set for the end of August or start of September. During the Q&A session later in the evening, a question was asked related to the arena costs and the debt levels to be incurred on it. Minnedosa CAO Jim Doppler stated that the original estimate for borrowing was $1 million and that we're still on target for that amount. Doppler did add, however, that until the construction is done, they can't say for sure, as there are perhaps additional operating costs that could be part of the construction. The initial cost set aside for the complex was $8,632,000. The expenditures are now at $8,667,000, which Doppler said, for a project of that size, is pretty good and well managed financially. What about the old arena? As for what will happen with the Minnedosa District Arena, all options are on the table for what to do with the building and or the land. Meanwhile, everything of value at the existing arena will either be transferred to the new building or sold. All proceeds from any sales will most likely go straight into paying down the debt or to the operational costs of the new facility. 9th Avenue subdivision. Another topic of interest was related to an expansion of available housing on town limits. With one potential option is the creation of a new subdivision along 9th Avenue Southwest. Mayor Cameron said addressing the housing shortage has been a priority issue for many in the town. A bylaw has been passed and we are working with a project manager right now to prepare the tender documents, said Cameron. And our goal is to have the documents out and ready to go, put the tenders out, and have construction begin this summer. Cameron added that they are also pursuing a request for quotations, RFQ, from the real estate firms to begin the process of moving forward with the sale of lots. Assisted living facility. Councillor Grant Butler shared information in connection to a new assisted living facility. Butler stated that they're in the process of forming a board that will consist of representation from the 4 local rural municipalities, Harrison, Oakview, Minto-O'Donnell, and Rosedale, and the town of Minnedosa. A first official meeting of this new board should take place in mid to late February. Other items of note. There were several other revelations shared during the town hall meeting, including Cenovus Energy reaffirming its support to help with the construction cost of a running track at the Minnedosa Regional Events Center. Minnedosa confirming it will host Doug Griffiths, the author of 13 Ways to Kill Your Community. Griffiths' book offers practical implementable steps that can be taken to bring a distressed community back to life. Minnedosa will host an Economic Development Partners Tour on February 22nd and 23rd. New stop logs for the dam at Lake Minnedosa have been purchased. Last week, 13 of those new logs arrived, putting them at about 2/3 of the way to a completely new stock. The town is also having ongoing discussion with the province about raising the lake levels. And questions from the public related to the new arena, as previously stated, local jobs, vacancies, and availability, and flood preparation for the spring. After the meeting concluded, the Banner and Press spoke with Mayor Cameron on the evening, and he said that the town, as well as the Chamber of Commerce, were all very pleased with how the event turned out. I'm very happy with the questions we received and the response from the public in general. This is the first town hall meeting we've done as a council, and I hope it's something we've been able to continue. We want to be as open and transparent with the community as possible and ensure they know what's going on with the community. Community development is huge, and we've got to go about it the right way. Gun control, hot topic for Manitoba MPs by Ken Waddell. Pictured as Dan Mazier, Member of Parliament for Dauphin Swan River, Neepawa, who held a seminar regarding gun control policies recently. The battle over gun control has been raging for 30 years or more. Millions of words and hundreds of millions of dollars have been expended. Gun control is an almost exclusively Liberal Party of Canada issue in an attempt to control gun violence. In spite of being advised by opposition politicians, farmers, and hunting lobbyists that no amount of banning guns will actually reduce the violent use of firearms among criminals. Dauphin Swan River Neepawa Member of Parliament Dan Mazier recently held an online seminar with guest MP Rachel Dancho from Kildonan and St. Paul. Two major topics were the Liberal Bill C-21, which threatens major ban and buyback of guns, and the topic of crime. Dansko stated, the Liberals think that coming after people's firearms, people involved in the farming and hunting industry, is a good thing, but it does nothing to reduce crime. She went on to say, gun owners are the least likely to commit crimes because they don't want to lose their guns. Farmers and hunters need their guns to protect livestock from predators and to feed their families. In order to reduce crime, Mazier said, the RCMP need more respect, need more retention, and better pay. Crime is seemingly rampant across Canada and has been particularly bad in the Swan River Valley. Both Mazier and Dancho noted that 80% of crime is committed by people out on bail. In days following the seminar, in an interview with the Banner, Mazier said, the Liberals withdrew some of the amendments, but Bill C-21 still remains. The Liberals are going after the wrong people. Trudeau has shown his true colors when he says he plans to take away guns. And Juno-nominated singer to perform in Neepawa, submitted by Kaleidoscope Concerts. Barbara Laika is a Juno-nominated singer-songwriter with a live show that captivates audiences. She has performed all over the world, headlining at jazz festivals, and is ranked one of the top jazz artists in Canada. You have the opportunity to see Barbara and her band at a live show, Thursday, March 2nd, 7:30 p.m. at the Roxy Theatre. Stride Credit Union and Harris Pharmacy sponsor this show, and our season sponsor is Rob Smith & Son Backhoe and Trucking. We thank our sponsors for their support. Without them, we could not offer these entertaining and unique concerts in Neepawa. Barbara's latest single, In 40 Years, was released June 24, 2022. She grew up in a musical family, and she studied at the University of Toronto, receiving a Bachelor of Music along with a major in human biology. Laika's debut album, entitled That's What I Do, was released with a live-to-air concert celebration on Jazz FM 91, hosted by Roz Porter in 2012. She received her first Juno Award nomination in 2017 for I'm Still Learning, under the category Vocal Jazz Album of the Year. In November 2013, Barbara competed in and placed first runner-up in the Sarah Vaughan International Jazz Voice Competition in New Jersey. Judges for the competition include Al Jarreau, Gretchen Parlato, and Janice Siegel of the Manhattan Transfer. Laika's second full-length album, Kissing You, was first performed in public in December 2014 at Corner Hall and was officially released in January 2015. The album was produced in collaboration with Lou Pomanti and was mixed by Juno winner Jeff Wolpter and features Red Schwager, Kevin Turcotte, Mark Kelso, Mark Rogers, and Kevin Fox. Excuse me. She has performed at the Rogers Cup and Honda Indy and with Bob Duro at Toronto's Jazz Bistro. Barbara has performed with Sylvia Tyson and Serena Ryder on CBC's 75th anniversary special with host Michael Enright. Laika's album, I'm Still Learning, was nominated for a Juno Award in the category Vocal Jazz Album of the Year. Tickets are available at Arts Forward and at the door. And speaking of Arts Forward, internationally known artist is featured at Art Forward by Casper Warren, and pictured a sample of some of the works by Victoria Prince, which are currently featured at Arts Forward for the month of February. From left to right are a heart study, neuron study, and memory series piece. Prince works with a variety of mediums and has been featured on an international scale. The exhibit from Arts Forward for the month of February focuses on the mind and heart. Literally, Mind and Heart is a series primarily of black ink drawings and alcohol ink paintings, exploring the connection between neuroscience and the human heart. The artist behind these pieces is Victoria Prince, a multidisciplined artist who graduated from the University of Manitoba in 2023, receiving a BFA, first-class honors degree. Her works are broad in style, ranging in genre from the aforementioned to experimental films. Prince's work for the exhibit was inspired by the drawings and cell-stained illuminations of neuroscientists Santiago Ramon Cayal and Camilo Golgi. Her own research of the brain and formation of neurons, brain cells, and specifically memories led Prince to question if one can overcome and or change their negative memories. Intrigued by the connection between one's mind and heart, emotions, led her to the work of Dr. Amour, who coined the term heart-brain in 1991. Dr. Amour had discovered that the heart and his own little brain composed of approximately 40,000 neurons, similar to those in the human brain. This research is what brought Prince to explore the anatomical heart through drawing and photography. Prince has won a variety of awards, such as On the Rise from the Winnipeg Arts Council and Best Picture for the Urban Reels Festival in Winnipeg. Her work has also been shown in film festivals, both nationally and internationally, including locations in Egypt, the United Kingdom, South Africa, France, Italy, and United Arab Emirates. And here, BMO thrilled to celebrate 125 years by Casper Wareham. And pictured is Tricia Finney, branch manager at Neepawa, cutting the celebratory cake on February 3rd. The Neepawa branch of the Bank of Montreal celebrated a major milestone on February 3rd. Located at 436 Mountain Avenue, that branch that day was celebrating the occasion of its 125th anniversary of being in the community. According to past articles, the official date of this anniversary was February 1st. We're proud of BMO's history in the community and thrilled to celebrate 125 years in Neepawa, said Tricia Finney, branch manager for Neepawa's BMO. A focus on helping BMO customers make real financial progress reflects our commitment to a thriving economy, a sustainable future, and an inclusive society. Staff at BMO celebrated amongst themselves and with customers throughout the day with cake, muffins, refreshments, and a trip down memory lane. Alongside the snacks and balloons were commemorations of their accomplishments and past milestones, as well as photographs from the past, both long ago and more recent. The original branch had been located on 1st Avenue and Hamilton Street, established by the Merchants Bank of Canada in 1898 and later purchased by BMO. The branch was relocated to new quarters on Mountain Avenue and the building completely renovated in the mid-1950s. Later, in 1971, the first half of a brand new building was completed, with the second half to be finished in 1972. The new location as a whole would celebrate its opening on July 15, 1972. And here's some more pictures from the Viterra Men's Provincial Curling Championship. And it says, the first draw of the Viterra Provincial Men's Curling Championship began in Neepawa early on Wednesday, February 8th at the Yellowhead Centre. There are 32 teams from across the province competing in the event. The championship game will take place on Sunday, February 12th at 2:30. And the ceremonial puck drop during Tigers Fight Cancer home game. Heather Brister drops the puck for the commemorative face-off during the Tigers game against Verdun on Friday, January 27th. Heather's son and Tigers defenseman Ward Brister, on right, participated in the puck drop. And the photo was by Owen Devereaux. And here's another article by Owen Devereaux. The Iceman Cometh. And pictured as top-tier ice technician turns Neepawa's Yellowhead Centre into curling mecca. Level 5 ice technician Greg Owasco has been an important component of premier curling events across Canada for nearly 3 decades. He and his team have brought their vast ice-making experience to the Yellowhead Centre in Neepawa for the 2023 Viterra Provincial Men's Curling Championship. And pictured below is the ice has been converted at the arena has been converted from hockey, skating to curling. For Greg Owasco, it doesn't matter if it's within the colossal confines of an NHL-sized arena or the more intimate space that is the Yellowhead Centre. All that matters to him is the pursuit of perfect ice. Owasco is the head ice technician for the 2023 Viterra Provincial Men's Curling Championship, set for Neepawa from February 7th to 12th. He and his crew, as well as a large contingent of local volunteers, have converted the Yellowhead from a hockey skating style ice to the more complex setup needed for curling. What's the difference? The main difference between a hockey skating ice surface and a surface optimal for curling is the pebbling of the ice, which allows for the stone to curl. If the ice is just smooth, a curler would have no control over the stone and would simply fly off in any direction randomly. Once the initial conversion at the Yellowhead is completed, the ice surface must be precisely maintained throughout the week. Water droplets are dispersed across the sheets that rapidly freeze. The pebbles' peaks are then shaved off to create an even surface, with plateaus of different widths. Many factors, such as the water droplet size, the temperature, and the intensity of the spread of the water spray, can affect the playing surface. All of this work requires a precision and artistry only a select few ice technicians can provide. Fortunately for Curl Manitoba and Neepawa's Curling Committee, they have access to a person who is widely regarded as the go-to guy when it comes to creating the finest conditions for top-tier curling in Canada. Manitoba's Iceman, Greg Owasco of Oakbank, Manitoba, has been working as an ice technician since the late 1990s. He has been instrumental in creating the best conditions for top-flight curling events on a local, national, and global level. The Banner and Press had the chance to speak with Greg in between sprays of the ice. He noted that every arena he works in has its own unique set of challenges. There's definitely a difference. For example, many larger facilities will have heating floor underneath the ice. Here at the Yellowhead Center, they don't have anything like that. Speaking with the Yellowhead Center maintenance manager Tom Lissaway over the past few days, he noted that the rink floor does heave up and down. That's another thing we'll have to be mindful of, said Owasco. But there are advantages as well. A lot of the newer buildings are airtight, meaning that you have to bring in air from outside to make up for some of the positive or negative air pressure in the building. Here, it's a little easier because there are a few cracks in the walls of the floor, so that makes it a lot easier in the older buildings. All of that is part of the job. You fine-tune the building that you're in and you make it work. Owasco noted that Tom Lissaway and the local volunteers have been exceptional in helping he and his crew of technicians to prepare the ice and ensure that it's up to the standard that Curling Manitoba expects. As for how it'll go over there for the curlers, Owasco was feeling pretty optimistic about how it'll play for Manitoba's top teams. Everything's shaping up to where we're supposed to be, and I think it's going to end up being a good week of competition. Staying on the curling note, the Viterra Calcutta raises $32,000 by Ken Waddell. The 2023 Viterra Provincial Men's Curling Championship got underway with the preliminaries on Wednesday morning in Neepawa. On Tuesday, teams practiced, enjoyed a banquet, and saw the return of a rural tradition, a championship Calcutta. Total sale proceeds for the 32 teams in pairs was over $32,000. The top seller at $5,600 was number 1 seed Matt Dunstone, paired with first-round opponent Tuffy Seguin, Burntwood. Auctioneer Tyler Slawinski auctioned off the 32 teams in the 2023 Viterra Championship on Tuesday evening at the Neepawa's Yellowhead Center. A huge crowd attended with teams and curling fans gathering from across the province. And here's the auctioneer pictured. And changing sports, the Titans split the weekend with Steinbach Pistons. Neepawa keeps playoff hopes alive with a big win over Steinbach. And pictured Connor Thompson, number 16, and his line mates celebrate a first period goal in Neepawa's 3-2 victory over the Steinbach Piston by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Titans collected a huge win over the weekend against the best team in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League. The Titans bested the Steinbach Pistons by a score of 3-2 on Friday, February 3rd at the Yellowhead Center. Neepawa took control early, with Will Hyatt scoring just 2 minutes and 33 seconds into the first period on a power play opportunity. Both teams would then swap goals before the end of the opening frame, with Connor Thompson scoring for Neepawa and Leah Chambers collecting one for the visiting Pistons. Hayden Stocks would add to Neepawa's advantage early in the second as he scored his 20th goal of the season, while Steinbach would score early in the third, once again trailed by a lone goal. They would be unable to find an equalizer before the end of regulation, and Neepawa would topple the East Division's top squad 3-2. The very next night, these two clubs will once again face off, this time in the nearly packed-to-capacity confines of the T.J. Smith Center in Steinbach. With 863 fans in attendance, the hometown Pistons would bounce back, handing Neepawa a 5-3 loss. The Titans jumped out to an early 2-0 lead as Parker Corman and Hayden Stocks each scored. The Pistons replied, however, with 2 quick goals, just 35 seconds apart before the end of the first. The second period proved to be a game-changer for the Pistons, scored twice and kept the Titans off the stat line. While Connor Thompson did claw back one midway through the third for Neepawa, the Pistons replied back only 12 seconds later to reestablish their 2-goal cushion. Shot on goal for the night were 45-42 for the Pistons. And the annual sports dinner promises great food and lots of laughter by Ken Waddell. Pictured above pictures sledge hockey player Tyler McGregor, on right comedian Dan Verville. The Neepawa area sports dinner is situated for Friday, March 3rd at the Yellowhead Center. The 15th annual dinner will have 2 featured speakers. Tyler McGregor, captain of Canada's Paralympic sledge hockey team, will bring his story of triumph over adversity to the stage in Neepawa. Returning to Neepawa will be comedian Dan Verville, a comedian who in his last visit to Neepawa made people laugh so hard they were crying. The 2023 Neepawa area sports dinner is sponsored by the Neepawa Titans Junior A Hockey Club. but the event has always had widespread support from the whole sports community of Neepawa area. As in the past, with Titan-sponsored community events, a portion of the proceeds will be donated to a community group or cause. This year it will be the Neepawa Area Cancer Care Programs. The evening will also include the awarding of Neepawa Sports Person of the Year. The Neepawa Sports Person of the Year is awarded to someone who has shown outstanding leadership skills in the local sports world to strengthen sport and recreation in Neepawa. Nominations can be submitted by email to Team President Ward Susky at quinbro@mts.net. The dinner will be catered by the ever-popular chef J.P. Charpentier, who is the corporate chef for High Life Foods. His meals are amazing, as past sports dinners will attest. Tickets are $100 per person for random seating, and VIP tables of 8 are available for $1,000. Tickets can be obtained at the Neepawa Titan store at the Yellowhead Center Arena, at the Neepawa Banner and Press at 423 Mountain Avenue, at Harris Pharmacy at 424 Mountain Avenue, and online tickets are available at http://titansonlinestore.square.site. For more information, contact Jamie Denbo at 204-212-0587 or Ward Susky at 204-841-2213. And NAC Tigers find success on the road in WHSHL by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Tigers hit the road last weekend for a pair of games in the Westman High School Hockey League. The first was a trip to Melita on Friday, February 3rd, to take on the REMP Renegades, where the Tigers picked up a 4-2 win. Tarek Lapointe, Cohen and Jory Kabaki, and Tristan Friesen all scored for Neepawa, while goaltender Gatlin Platt made 30 saves for the win. OT against Vincent Massey. A few nights later, Neepawa headed to Brandon to challenge the Vincent Massey Vikings. The Tigers would fall behind by 3 in the first period, but clawed back with 3 of their own in the second. Tarek Lapointe scored the first for Neepawa before Jory Kabaki added a pair of his own late in the second. Lapointe would score again midway through the third period to give the Tigers the lead. Vincent Massey tied it up, however, with just 1 minute and 11 seconds left in regulation. The Vikings then scored the game winner in overtime. With these results, Neepawa improved its regular season record to 17-5-4 and 38 points. The Tigers returned to action February 10th in Hartley. A cause close to everyone's heart. Pins and Pals grateful for annual Christmas stocking support by Casper Waring. And pictured are members of the Pins and Pals Quilts Guild. Left to right, starting at the back row, Donna Kreutzer, Jamie Medill, Leslie Bowden, Fran Porosky, Gloria Fulford, Karen Cormier, Marlene Fisher, Kay West, Valerie Thompson, and Carol Walker. Front row, Betty McConnell, Jean McCartney, life member, Isabel Carruthers, and Andre Van Niekerk. Even now, long after Christmas has come and passed, the Pins and Pals Quilt Guild is feeling the effects of the festive spirit. Based in Gladstone, Plumas, the Guild has been making stockings for the 50 residents of Third Crossing Manor for 26 years, a practice that began in 1996 as a guild competition and had transformed into an annual cause to spread cheer, backed entirely by the goodwill of the area communities. This support is something Pins and Pals is incredibly grateful for. Everybody is just fantastic with their support. The whole community, said Guild President Karen Cormier. It's very well supported, and the thank you letter we got every year from the Manor, they're so thankful, and it really makes Christmas special. Cormier added, a male nurse this past year dressed up as Santa Claus and gave everyone their stockings. That was really nice too, because I think that for some residents there, that's their Christmas. It's just a lovely Christmas thing that happens every year. For those who may be unaware, every stocking is sewn by a member of Pins and Pals Quilt Guild, with new stockings, now gift bags in order to accommodate more goodies, being sewn as needed. Then, via individual, support group, and business donations, members of the Guild collect items for the stockings based on a list provided to them by the Manor. We work very closely with the Recreation Director at Third Crossing Manor. This year we had 8 residents who had special dietary needs, Cormier explained. So when we went shopping, we got a good selection of cookies, candies, and things like that for people who have diabetes, gluten-free restrictions, and that kind of things. Cormier added, treats they maybe won't get very often, chips, oranges, etc., etc. In addition to the tasty treats, the residents also receive a selection of personal items from the Gladstone Pharmacy. This includes items such as deodorant, hand sanitizers, hand cream, toothbrushes, and toothpaste. As much as possible, we keep the money in the community too, so it helps out a lot of people, Cormier added, and it's been going on for so long that people know, and they'll bump into a member of the Guild in October or November. We've had quite a few people just pull out a $20 bill towards the stocking fund. In addition to spreading cheer at Third Manor and supporting of local businesses, Cormier noted that the annual event adds to the community as a whole. It really builds community spirit. When I worked with the manager of the Gladstone Pharmacy, she just looked at me one day, because I was in there several times. She said, "You know, Karen, I just believe that people who have a responsibility to give, and I really liked that," said Cormier. "I think it's also connections. Some of the older people in the community know some of the residents and have had history with them, so it maintains that connection. And this is a consistent cause that's close to everyone's heart," Cormier enthused. A portion of the proceeds also go towards purchasing plants for the residents to care for throughout the summer and other recreation activities. In her final comments, Cormier wished to emphasize her gratitude, stating, "A big thank you to the people, the service groups, and businesses in the Gladstone, Plumas, Austin area for your ongoing and very generous support." And there's a picture of Santa Claus posing with a Third Crossing Manor resident after giving her Christmas gift bag in 2022. The most popular Valentine's Day gifts submitted by Metal Creative Creations. Valentine's Day sparks one of the busiest shopping seasons of the year. Though it might not inspire the masses like Black Friday, Valentine's Day compels millions of people to find gifts for that special someone in their lives each February. In fact, the National Retail Federation's annual 2022 Valentine's Day spending survey found that the average person expected to vote $175 to Valentine's Day spending in 2022. Any heartfelt gift can light up a sweetheart's smile on Valentine's Day, but certain items tend to be more popular than others on February 14th. Though Valentine's Day shoppers can always go their own way when shopping for their sweethearts, some of the more traditional gifts remain wildly popular. In its survey, the NRF found that these go-to gifts maintain their status as the most popular items for individuals to show their love for that special someone in 2022. Candy. 56% of survey respondents indicated that they plan to buy candy for their sweetheart on Valentine's Day. Though any candy can suffice, chocolates inside a heart-shaped box tend to be especially popular in mid-February. Greeting cards. Greeting cards will likely never go out of style, as 40% of respondents indicated that they would give a card in 2022. Flowers. The appeal of a bouquet is undeniable, prompting 37% of shoppers to give flowers on Valentine's Day. A night out. A romantic night out is perhaps as meaningful as ever in a world still emerging from the pandemic, so it's no surprise that 31% of respondents indicated they plan to take their sweethearts out for a night on the town in 2022. Jewelry. Though it might rank below the other gifts on this list, jewelry remains a go-to gift on Valentine's Day, with the total Valentine's Day spending on jewelry estimated at more than $6 billion in 2022. This could be where most Valentine's Day dollars go this February. And that concludes the press for February 10th, 2023. Thank you so much for watching.